In terms of how it feels driving this car, I would say every second of driving it is a very engaging experience. So whenever I drive this car, I'm fully immersed into it. I have to say though, I don't take the car for emotional coffee runs. I don't go to the city with it. It's pretty much, I only use it for, let's say, nice kilometers. So in this respect, yeah, every kilometer I drive counts. So before that, this car, I used to have a 992 GT3 Touring, which was a hell of a car, but it was a bit of a handful to drive it around here, simply because in Switzerland it's a bit tricky to drive fast, and if you didn't push the GT3 a bit, you couldn't get any excitement out of it. So long story short, I was getting a bit of stress with all of that situation. And one day I was at my Porsche dealer. I was fooling around with the sales guys, moaning a bit about the GT3. Oh, you know, this car is too fast, too good, too competent. If I drive it the way I should drive it, I'm gonna get into trouble with the police around here. And yeah, one of the sales guys over there was like, okay, if I'm listening, you talking about GT3s and all of that, maybe this car here is something for you. And I was like, okay, 964. So he was like, no, this is a 964 RS. So I was like, okay, I'll come for a spin. I picked the worst day, so it was like 35 degrees hot on that day, and I did that on purpose. So I go to the dealership, take the keys, fire up the engine, and I still remember it to this day. Like, while I was driving outside the dealership in the first, I don't know, 300, 500 meters, I was a sucker for this car. So I was like, okay, this car is for me. And so I did the test drive, came back 30 minutes later, sweaty, you know, like red and all that. And I told the guy, okay, let's do it. This was the second RS built after the legendary 73 2.7 RS, and actually this was the, if I'm not mistaken, this was the first 911 Cup car was based on this exact car.
Makes his way down to the first corner, but Emmanuel Collard it is in the lead. The Flymo-backed Porsche they're going through, with Jean-Pierre Jarier in second place. Uwe Elton is third as they make their way now up.
So there's a bit of a, let's say, racing bloodline here. And this particular car, from what I know, because recently I went to a classic rally with my wife, and I actually met one of the previous owners of the car, and he walked me a bit through, you know, the history, the different owners, and all of that, because he had some more information. The car had seen the track quite a few times. I got into Porsches pretty much when I moved to Switzerland, which was about 10 years ago. I got my first Porsche about 7 years ago. I have to say, Porsche gives me, driving a Porsche, especially at the moment, gives me extreme joy, great pleasure. I've met so many tremendous people just by owning a car like this. There's a big Porsche community, and yeah, people tend to get together around cars, and I think that makes it quite special. Probably I spend more time on driving Porsches than I should be, but be that as it may, I simply love every minute being around Porsches. When it comes to the more technical aspects, I really like the fact that it's a pure car. The ride is it's quite stiff. Many people complain about it. I think this is a car that you either love or hate, and clearly I'm in the camp of those who love a car like this. I also really appreciate the fact that it also pushes me to become a better driver in a way. So I keep evolving as a driver with this car. I definitely feel that I have not explored its full spectrum of capabilities, so that really intrigues me as well. There are no aids here, so there's no ABS, there's no ESP, none of that crap, so you really need to know what you're doing. And that's a good thing, in my opinion, because it makes the drive more engaging. Because you know that there's not this magic hand that's going to save you somehow if you screw things up. So I appreciate that as well. And I also really love the fact that we're talking about a 30-year-old car here, and it still drives like a charm. So. It's super reliable. I've done quite long drives the past year. Recently I drove up to Copenhagen, I went back, I drove like 2,000 plus kilometers, no issue whatsoever. In the winter time you put the car to sleep, you come back in spring, turn on the ignition key, the car goes. So yeah, it's like, I love it. My name is Laz and I drive a 964 RS.